welcome to this week's video. For this week, I'm doing another edition of Speed Dating My TBR. This is episode 10, for those of you who are new here. Speed Dating My TBR is when I go through that monstrosity, it goes all the way down, and I preview a few of the books on it. We usually pick 4, and I read the first either prologue, 10 pages, or chapter, whichever comes first. And then I decide if it's going to go back on my TBR, or if it just doesn't, if I'm just not feeling it, and it's just going to go to a better home. So, I guess let's just get into it here. The first book that we will be starting with is a pretty famous one from a few years back, and it's A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I'm sure that I'm butchering that, but we are starting with this one. And now I have heard many things about this one, many good things, about how it is absolutely heartbreaking and how it will wreck my soul. That's what a lot of booktubers like to say. I will sort of give it a little preview for now and see if it grabs me. Yeah, so let's just get into, there's no insert covered, it's just a bunch of sort of quotes. Yes, and I always like read for you the back blurb and the first line. So the back blurb. A Little Life follows 4 college classmates, broke adrift and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition, as they move to New York in search of fame and fortune. While their relationships, which are tinged by addiction, success, and pride, deepen over the decades, the men are held together by their devotion to the brilliant, enigmatic Jude, a man scarred by an unspeakable childhood trauma, a hymn to brotherly bonds, and a masterful depiction of love in the 21st century. Hanya Yanagihara stunning novel is about the families we are born into and those that we make for ourselves. So, let's get into, this was published in 2015, and is actually a second novel because he actually has another, he or she, Hanya, I'm not sure. They actually have another novel called The People in the Trees. I didn't know that. It takes a little while to get to the first page. Goodness, okay. The first page reads, The 11th apartment had only one closet, but it did have a sliding glass door that opened onto a small balcony, from which he could see a man sitting across the way, outdoors in only a t-shirt and shorts, even though it was October, smoking. That was a long first sentence. I'm wondering if it's going to be one of those books. Let's give it a shot. Well, that was disappointing. That was 10 pages of really nothing happening. 10 pages of basically them, 2 of them trying to find a place to live. And oof, the run-on sentences. Oh my! I can use a run-on sentence, but not overuse, you know? And I don't know, they just seem like I didn't really connect with like any of them. They just seem like the typical kind of like 20-something dude bro kind of guys. Like I didn't really feel like any sort of depth to them. And just I, for an intro, I was just bored. I mean, okay. For an example, this guy is talking about his job. Um, okay, he was not a good receptionist. Although the phones rang more or less constantly, he rarely picked them up. When any of them wanted to get through to him, the cell phone reception in the building was inconsistent. They had to follow a special code of ringing twice, hanging up, and then ringing again. And even then, he sometimes failed to answer. His hands were busy beneath his desk, combing and plaiting snarls of hair from a black plastic trash bag he kept at his feet. One, gross, and two, who cares? Like, why? I don't know. Yeah, that's disappointing. I was so looking forward to having my soul wrecked. But the first couple of pages and I'm bored. So this one is gonna go to someone who can appreciate it more than I can. Because no. I mean, they're talking about bad food and finding a place to live. Meh. Sorry. I know that like a lot of people have loved this book, but no, for me it just did not work. Next we have The Lost Chapter by Caroline Bishop. And the blurb is, it's one of those where like the blurb is like in the side, or like in the inside cover. At 80 England present day. At 80 years old, Florence Carter spends her days making intricate lino prints in the company of her dog and cat and her neighbor's daughter, Alice, a shy young woman troubled by a recent trauma. But when Flo learns that a long-lost friend has written a novel based on their time at finishing school, she's forced to confront a secret from her past. You know how much I love those secrets from their pasts. France, 1957. In post-war Lyon, Florence and Lily meet at a strict finishing school for girls. Florence is a demure young Englishwoman who is expected to enter society and make a good marriage. Lily, meanwhile, is a brash American with an independent spirit and thirst for adventure. Of course she is. Despite their differences, they forge a firm friendship that promises to last a lifetime, until a terrible betrayal tears them apart. Now, as Flo reads Lily's book, she struggles to separate fact from fiction. Desperate for answers, she decides to take a road trip to France to find Lily, and she invites Alice and her mother, Carla, to join her in hopes the change of scenery will lift their spirits. But when they reach Lyon, it's Flo who needs help as the buried truth from long ago threatens to overwhelm her. Let's read the first line, and we're starting with a prologue. It takes place in Lyon, France, April 1958, which is the year my mom was born. The question I suppose you might ask me when you get to the end of this story is whether I would have changed anything had I known how it was going to turn out, and the answer is absolutely not. Okay, so the prologue is starting in neither Florence's point of view or Lily's point of view. That does not bode well. I don't like when they do that. I'm not sure. And for me, my initial reaction to be I'm not sure, I'm thinking it should be no. Because y'all, I have so many books on that shelf and that one and piles that you guys don't see. So I need to get through these. It starts with this girl, Eleanor Lenny, and she's basically leaving the school that she's, I guess, running away from the school the boarding school that she's been attending. And she had a friend there named Frank. Now, there's no hint in here that Fran and Eleanor are Florence and Lily. And I think, to be fair, the book that I'm working on right now, Good Women, the heroines, the two best friends, they do start with two different names in the beginning of the story. But then something happens where they have to change their identities. And then you know them as these other names once that happens. But I am definitely going to make sure to put that sort of in the blurb so that there is no kind of confusion like this. I don't know if Eleanor and Fran become Flo and Lily later on. And I have too many books to be willing to find out. And it didn't grab me. The premise is right up my alley. But the beginning just sort of didn't grab me, and not enough to make me want to continue. So, am I in a mood today? I don't know. Is that what's going on? I don't feel in a mood. Maybe I'm just sort of, because I have so many books sort of around me, I am sort of having to be more brutal, I guess, in what books I keep and what books I cut. So this one's gonna go to a better home too. Just get some water. In case you haven't seen, this water bottle was a gift from my sister. This is just a girl who loves books. And that's the back there. And I love it so much. It's so pretty. So let's get to the next one, shall we? Next one is The Paris Library by Janet Gesline Charles. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her middle name, but there we are. And let's read the initial blurb. Again, we have these two timeline deals, which I always love. Though, to be fair, I always love the past timeline more than the present. Starts in Paris, 1939. So we already know shit's about to hit the fan. Young, ambitious, and tempestuous, Odile, Odile, O-D-I-L-E, Odile Suchet has it all. A handsome police officer beau, a new best friend, a twin brother whom she adores, and a dream job at the American Library in Paris, working alongside the library's legendary directress, Dorothy Reader. When World War II breaks out, Odile stands to lose everything she holds dear. After the Nazi army marches into the City of Light and declares a war on words, Odile and her fellow librarians join the resistance with the best weapons they have, books. Again and again they risk their lives to help their Jewish readers, but by the war's end, Odile tastes the bitter sting of unspeakable betrayal. If it's anything like The Diplomat's Wife, I'm guessing it's going to be the directress Dorothy Reader that betrays them. If you've read The Diplomat's Wife, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to say in case you haven't read. But, yeah. Montana, 1983. Odile's solitary existence in gossipy small-town Montana is unexpectedly interrupted by her neighbor Lily, a lonely teenager craving adventure. Odile helps her navigate the troubled waters of adolescence by always recommending the right book at the right time, never suspecting that Lily will be the one to help her reckon with her own terrible secret. Based on the true story of the American Library in Paris, the Paris Library is a mesmerizing and unforgettable novel about the power of books and the bonds of friendship and the courage it takes to forgive. Oh, and there's a picture. There's a picture of the American Library in Paris. See that. Let me try it. That's better. Cool. Published in 2021. And we start in Odile's with Odile in Paris, February 1939. The first line reads, "Numbers floated round my head like stars." Okay, I'd have to... Okay, I was predisposed, to be fair, to like this book, because it's a book about a library. It's a book about books. But this line? Oh, I love this line so much. So, she's going to her her job interview to get the job to work at the American Library. And she's a little early. She decides to, of course, do some browsing. I mean, you know, of course. So she goes to one of the stacks and she pulls out a book. And this line, I never judged a book by its beginning. It felt like the first and last date I'd once had, both of us smiling too brightly. No. And this is the line that I think, I'm only like 3 pages in and I'm like, yep. I opened to a page in the middle where the author wasn't trying to impress me. Ma'am! Yep, I'm in. I love her voice. And just, to be fair, I totally understand the contradiction of the fact of this entire video is me reading the beginnings of books to see if I will like them. But, like, at least for me anyway, that's sort of how I can decide if a book is going to draw me in or not. But her point is so perfect. To open a book in the beginning, or not in the beginning, but in the middle, where the author isn't trying to impress me. Oh, I love that line so much. So, yeah, the Paris Library, you got me. You got me with that goddamn line. You hooked me with the voice and the descriptions of, like, her, like, on the way to the library. And when she gets in the library and she's describing the people that she's seeing and, like, the sort of conversations that she's hearing going around, there was such a vibrancy to that beginning. So, yes, I really hope that I'm going to continue to enjoy this book as much as I have the beginning. But yeah, it's going back. It's going back to my, to that monstrosity. So yay! We got one! And last book is James Rollins' The Doomsday Key. And is there yep, there is an insert cover. And he is in some kind of museum or fancy architectural building. Let's read the back blurb. Commander Gray Pierce and Sigma Force have only days to solve an apocalyptic puzzle, dating back centuries. Aided by two women from his past, one his ex-lover, the other his new partner, which, that's a setup. Gray must uncover a horrifying secret that threatens America and the world, even if it means sacrificing the life of one of the women at his side. Not sacrificing his own life, sacrificing one of them. The race is on, from the Roman Colosseum to the icy peaks of Norway to the lost tombs of Celtic kings, and the future hangs in the balance. For humankind's ultimate nightmare is locked within a talisman buried by a dead saint, an ancient artifact known as the Doomsday Key. Oh, and there's a little bit at the top here that I missed out on reading. At Princeton University, a famed geneticist dies inside a biohazard lab in Rome. In Rome, a Vatican archaeologist is found dead in St. Peter's Basilica. In Africa, a U.S. senator's son is slain outside a Red Cross camp. 3 murder victims on 3 continents, linked by a pagan Druidic cross burned into their flesh. And it's quoted by Steve Barry, who, I quite enjoyed his, my favorite book of his is The Third Secret. Love that book so much. It is on my keeper shelf. And Steve Barry writes sort of like the Dan Brown conspiracy type of books, and this James Rowan book, The Doomsday Key, does kind of seem definitely in sort of that vein. So I love that. I love, especially when there's like religion involved in it. I love that ish. I eat it up. So let's definitely check out this one. Published in 2009. Ooh. First page takes place in spring 1086 in England. The first line reads, "The ravens were the first sign." Oh, the raven! Bran, is that you? Game of Thrones reference. Oh, wow. Okay, we have a swarm of ravens that just sort of crash into each other and die. Sir, you have my attention. Okay, they're dissecting a little boy's body, and that's gross. Okay, so you have my attention, sir. So this guy, Martin, is sent to this village to investigate because the village seems completely, like, destroyed. Like, the land is just rotten, and the word they use is, like, wasted. And everybody there is also dead, also seemingly wasted, where in the sense of they just sort of wasted away, even though it says that, like, they ate and, like, nourished themselves, but it didn't matter. They still wasted away as if they starved to death. So he's sort of there to investigate sort of why this happened. And the rumors are that the place was cursed, and that there's this book called the Doomsday Book, where God apparently keeps notes of all, like, your deeds, and that you have done, like, in your life. That's sort of the rumor that this book exists, or what have you. But he sort of thinks that it's just that, like, it's just, superstition and any of that stuff. But clearly something has happened to this land that has, destroyed sort of all the structures and the people. And there's only, like, one sign of anything, one potential sign that could give them any kind of answer. And it was a pagan symbol drawn on what was left of their church. And it has a drawing of the actual sort of symbol. And it's found on all the doors. And it's that symbol. So, definitely have my attention. The writing is really, definitely really draws you in. Definitely very, what's the word? Powerful? Visceral? Like, I think visceral would be, like, the right word, because the way that he describes the way that the lands are, like, rotted, and the swarm of ravens that, like, just, like, crash into each other and die, and, like, just fall to the stone, fall to the ground. And when they're examining that little boy's body, who apparently starved to death even though his belly was full, and that was gross, but definitely, well, sort of written, and like definitely draws you in. So I am gonna put this one back. This one, definitely got my attention. So not too bad. We got 2 for 2. So unfortunately, The Lost Chapter by Caroline Bishop will be going to a new home. And very unfortunately, A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara will be going to a little home. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. You're sad about that. I can tell. But you're going to a new home. And we are keeping The Paris Library by Janet Skesline Charles and The Doomsday Key by James Rowlands. So definitely look forward to continuing those 2. Let me know what you thought of the books that we went through today. Should I keep A Little Life? Should I give it another try? I really don't feel an urge to. And all I really have to go on is the massive amount of booktubers who have read it and claim that it wrecked their soul. But I have this sort of bias against a lot of sort of booktube kind of culture where they're not necessarily reading books that they want to, but books that either like the publishers sort of sent them, or they're doing it just sort of because the book is trendy and they want to like be a part of that sort of hype. Like that's sort of the vibe I get with a lot of booktube the past couple of years. It's sort of why I don't watch specifically a lot of romance booktube. I find is just completely disingenuous and just not genuine. In my humble opinion, there are very few booktubers that I follow. And the majority of them are reading books that they picked up that are not the trendy book talk books right now, so that at least I feel that when they're reading a book, it's because they genuinely want to read it, and not because they're either been given it to review, or being paid to review it. I mean, make your money. But I don't hold a lot of stock in those kinds of books, book talk, and like book reviewer, booktubers. So yeah, just a little sort of idea of sort of like why I don't really feel the pull to continue or to give A Little Life another chance. But so yeah, that's those 2 are gonna go to a different home, and we're keeping with the 2 that I picked up. And yeah, so that's gonna be the end of this week's video. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!